you cannot make progress in your spiritual journey. So it's not just about a story, it's about your life. In the same vein, we are now learning about a woman who was sick for 12 years. Of course, the number 12 must ring a bell in your head. It is not by mistake. Why 12 years? Why a woman? Why blood? So you must be able to understand these elements and then make life out of it. And so we are going to first of all understand or re-emphasize what a woman represents. So throughout the word, woman does not merely mean a female person. It represents the church itself, or the soul, considered as to its affection for truth. So it's talking about you, because you are a soul. Your affection for truth. Do you have this desire to always want to learn about the truths from the letters of the word? Then you fall into this picture of this woman. So while you are thinking about the story, think about yourself as that woman. And we're told that this woman was what? Losing blood. So we have taken one part of the story, which is the woman, and we have said that the woman represents what? The church, or, sorry? Okay, what about in relation to yourself? So it relates to you, your soul. So your living being, like your soul, having this affection. Like we are all seated here. We didn't force you to come here. Did anybody force you out of your homes to come to church? Because you want to come to church so you can do what? Receive from the Lord. And so you have that affection, right? To want to learn about what the Lord has to say to you. And so, in this context, you are also being referred to as the what? The woman. But of course, we are all members of the church. So in general, it is now being referred to as the what? As the church. So the church was losing something. It was not gaining. It was what? Losing. And what was the church losing? Or what are you losing? Blood. And what does blood represent? Blood, in its good sense, represents divine truth flowing from the Lord. I'll take that again. Blood, in its good sense, represents divine truth flowing from the Lord. That truth that gives life. Just as blood gives life to you. Imagine that, of course, for those of us that are women, I'm not a woman, but now I know that I can actually be a woman. Okay? But women generally, I don't need to explain to you, those of us that are giving birth, you know, because when you give birth, you lose blood. True or false? So tell me, when you lose that blood, you are very strong. Is it true? You are very strong. So it takes time for you to what? To recover yourself. Is that not so? Great. So that means if you are losing blood, it's not really a good thing. Right? It's not a good thing. And this woman is said to have been losing blood for 12 good years. So let us try and picture what her sickness looks like. So we're not looking at a soul that has rejected truth outright in open rebellion, but a soul that has been quietly, continually losing truth. Because we have just said that blood represents what? Hello? Are we communicating? We have just said that blood represents what? Divine truth. The truth that gives you what? Life. So this woman is said to have what? She's losing it. Right? She is losing the truth. So all the truth that she has acquired over time, she is losing them all. So we've been able to what? To get two things. The woman and now the blood. Let us now go over to the next element, which is what? The duration or the number of years that this woman has been losing this what? Blood. How many years was recorded? Does it remind you of the 12 apostles? Does it remind you of the 12 gates? Hello? So you see how the Lord is using numbers to represent things of heaven and your spiritual life. So it was not just a mere miracle, but actually a representation that is true even till today. In the word, the number 12 does not simply mean a span of time. It represents fullness, the entire completion of truth and faith. 12 tribes, 12 apostles, 12 gates, 12 stars. So her 12 years of suffering suggests something more than a long while. So it's not just trying to tell you how long this woman have suffered from this particular ailment. But the Lord is trying to tell you something very, very significant. And what is that thing? So the 12 years suggest a complete cycle, a state that had run its whole course. The loss was not partial or occasional. It touched everything. What should have been the fullness of living truth had become, instead, the fullness of its what? Loss. Think of what that means for us. Some of us do not struggle with one isolated fault. We carry a whole condition, years deep, touching every part of us, where the truth we should be living by has slowly leaked away until we no longer remember what wholeness felt like. One way or one example I want to give again is somebody who I would say had seen or had lived a certain, you have been able to live to a certain degree in your life. Call it success in your business or in your academics. And that has actually been sustaining you in that particular sphere. Right? Let's give a very good example. A business. You have been able to build yourself in that business to that level where that business now what? Sustains you. Right? And then, gradually, you are now losing the business. Okay? You are losing your what? Your business. So you can no longer take care of those things. Maybe you used to fly, to different parts of the world, but now because of the dwindling nature of your business, you can no longer travel. All right? And it goes down until to that point where you have returned to what? To square one. You have nothing to hold back to anymore. So you see that complete 360 turn of your life is what is being pictured by this woman who had suffered for what? For 12 years. This woman has completely lost all, not some, all the truths that she has had that was sustaining her in her living. All. So that is what is being pictured by the number 12. Then, here comes the hymn where the fullness of the Lord meets fullness of our need. That's the last strength. That's the last knowledge that she has. Knowledge of the Lord's divine power.